360 and on Chromecast. And please make sure if you're also watching this, it can also be seen on Zingo TV, which is an application on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Please remember to download the BarnBurner and Zingo TV apps in their respective app stores on both iOS and Android devices. Welcome to Six and Sticks on the NWHL's newest expansion team, the Toronto Six. It was an exciting week in the GTA. And why was that? Because the Toronto Six Hockey Club did something different. That wasn't hockey. What did they do? I'll tell you what they did. A golf tournament. It was arranged by Jenna McParland, one of the newest members of the Toronto Six. She played in the CWHL, which is the Canadian Women's Hockey League, with the Markham Thunder before it went defunct, and is a former member as well of the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association, better known as the PWHPA. So, this was September 27th, and it was something that you don't see every day, very different for a hockey team. But the reason why they did this is because they've done their training camps at Kenland Ice Sports, they've done their training camps at Scotiabank Pond, but in doing so, they've only been allowed so many players on the ice. At first, they were having 6 or 7, and then the numbers went up to 15, and then they climbed a little bit more, but it still didn't have everyone, because not everyone attended. So the closest number that they got to themselves was probably somewhere around 12, 13. So players have just kept coming in. And each week the team has gone stronger, faster, and better. And some of them haven't even taken the ice yet who attended the golf tournament. And so we look at those who were at the golf tournament, and those included Michaela Grant-Mentis, Elaine Chuli, who came in with Cheyenne Darkangelo for the first time wearing something with the Six, not a jersey. No pads, have not been on the ice yet, either Chuli or Darkangelo. Natalie Marcuzzi was there, who is at practice every week. Brooke Boquist, who's been at practice for a few weeks now. Emma Greco, who's been in and out of practice. Along with them, Emma Woods, like I said, Jen McParland, the tournament organizer, Kristen Barbara, just to give you a sense of the fact that this was done so they could be together and do so in a socially distanced environment. I think that this was a really fun way to engage with a team that is trying to mold chemistry and have had trouble doing so given the limitations in the province of Ontario due to COVID-19 and how that works with physical activity. And another one who I can name who was there was Mackenzie McNeil, who again came over from Hungary to play in North America. So this looked like a lot of fun, and Brianne Wilson-Bennett was there as well. It's not something that you get to see every day. And the material from the Toronto Six Twitter at the Toronto Six was absolute gold. And I mean, I think that doesn't get better than this, because, if you can find the fun that's off the ice, then you're going to have the fun that comes when you're on the ice. And so, I think that there's something to be said for the team being able to put this together. I do not think that staff were involved with this. I do not think Mandy Cronin was there. I cannot confirm that. Digit Murphy, the team's president, remains back in the States, as well as team owners Joanna and John Boynton. The hope is that they'll be able to see opening day live. But, again, it's all depending upon restrictions and safety, as it appears that flying from the States to Canada and back and forth, or vice versa is rather the right word, is okay. But at the borders, driving is not. And, I'm not going to get into explaining that all, because that's all, difficult and such. But, this was a fun thing to do, and the photos are excellent, and for fan enjoyment, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on kind of what breaking down the action from the golf course. So in a score update from the organization, after 7 holes completed, here are what some of the groups who played together looked like. So Barbara McParland, Emma Woods, and Emma Greco were all over 4. Marcuzzi, Boquist, Taylor Woods, and Elaine Julie were all 1 over. Lindsay Eastwood, Michaela Grant-Mentis, Brianne Wilson-Bennett, Mackenzie McNeil, and Cheyenne Darkangelo were all 2 over. So just to give you an idea that not all of them were the strongest, and Lindsay Eastwood certainly got chirped, which was entertaining to say the very least. Meanwhile, Michaela Grant Mentis, when she wasn't golfing, she was actually running the social team along with Alyssa Turner to help out with content for the day for the Toronto Six. And there's a lot of entertainment. Got to see a lot of missed holes from a lot of players, but someone who did look fairly strong on the golf course was Elaine Chuli. And the Toronto Six, when they first made their introduction, back in April, and trying to give people an idea of who they are as people as well as players, a lot of them expressed that their second favorite sport aside from hockey is golf. So you expect that these people would be really good, or these players rather. And Emma Woods looked solid. Another one who looked solid was Jenna McParland. A lot of them had the stance right. So as hockey players, I think that's impressive. I'll let you guys tell me, and you can write that in the comments on Twitter to me what you think of hockey players playing golf, and how you think that this went. And I do suggest watching the content on the Toronto Six page first, because again, you don't really get to see this kind of thing every day, and I think that was special that they could do that to bond, and it brought the rest of the team together ultimately. For those who hadn't yet been here, 2 more arrived over the weekend. And so I'm going to get into those players in just a moment or two. But before I do that, just 2 nights ago, Mandy Cronin, who also is the owner of Empower Hockey, in addition to being GM of the Toronto Six, is a volunteer coach, if and where she can be. And so, joining her at a coaching session with the Bantam AA Etobicoke Dolphins was Kristen Barbara and Lindsay Eastwood to get their first taste of coaching, which obviously really special. Again, this is a team that's not at full capacity itself, but goes to show you that you can do good amid a pandemic, and Mandy Cronin has a positive influence on everyone, and I think that that's probably one of the most telling factors here. But it all comes to this is all just community work and prep and dedication. Given that the borders aren't open yet, competition isn't at its highest level because they're the only team in Canada, and plus training camps, you don't face other teams anyways. It's more inter-squad work, which will commence on October 19th. So just a couple more weeks for that. But for now, it's just more volunteer showings, and we've seen players come in and out of practice each week. That being said, I think that's where we're going to delve into those who showed up for practice this week. So first, let's look at Sarah Steele, who arrived in the city of Toronto yesterday. She played last season in the EWHL with KMH Budapest. So she signed her contract for the upcoming season a while ago, and has really only played pro hockey overseas since graduating from Boston University in the NCAA. So taking a look now at what Sarah Steele presents to the team. This is a girl who, in her first season of pro hockey, played 16 games, scoring 3 goals and 6 assists, and she did so for 9 points, adding 10 penalty minutes. Now, doing so that was with the EHFD Sabres Wien. She also played for Team Australia, but no stats to show for that, or Team Austria rather. But in 2018-19, when she played for Neuchâtel Hockey Academy Dems in the SWHL, she played 18 games, scoring 7 goals and 6 assists for 13 points, along with 12 penalty minutes added. So now we move on to 2019-20, where she played in EWHL, given that she's certainly been around women's hockey overseas, which is certainly more pro than pro standards have proven to be here in the past, given that when the CWHL was paying small stipends, women were getting paid fair wages overseas the entire time. So not to say that that's not the same now, because the NWHL is paying wages that are not exact, I'd say, livable as a professional athlete, but certainly much closer to that than the CWHL was. It goes to show why she did it and why, and she felt comfortable with it, and she made her name known. She was offensively never the strongest. However, as someone who isn't offensively talented, that mostly means that your defense is the part that shines. But she didn't do horribly. She did okay, and so I expect her to, once she finds her chemistry here, to pick up the pace and pick up the action and become a scoring threat for the Toronto Six. So as I kind of conclude that ramble, looking at her season with KMH Budapest before signing in Toronto, she played 18 games, scoring 4 goals and 13 assists for 17 points. She also added plus 40 differential along with 4 penalty minutes added. So, again, not the strongest offensively, but not bad. So, I expect, like I said, I expect her to, once she finds her comforts back on North American ice, to present a game that is tighter and all around stronger. But until then, let's take a look at her playoff experience, because every year that she has played pro hockey, she has been in the playoffs, which is really impressive because you don't get to see that a lot. And I thought that was really neat. So, in 2017-18 with EHV Sabres Wien, she played 2 games, scoring an assist for 1 point, along with 4 penalty minutes and a plus 5 differential. Now, playing for the Austria portion of EHV Sabres Wien, she played 3 games and scored 1 assist and 1 point, again for 4 penalty minutes and a plus 3 differential. So, with Neuchatel Hockey Academy Dems in the SWHL, she played in 5 games in the playoffs, scoring 1 goal and 2 assists for 3 points, and also added on there 6 penalty minutes. Now, with KMH Budapest, most recently, she played 2 games, and because she only played in 2 games, did not get a whole lot done, adding 2 penalty minutes and a plus minus differential of 1. So that's plus 1 to be more precise. So after all that, she even appeared in 3 games with Team Hungary on the international stage, which I thought was really cool. And she's played nearby. She's been overseas again since the start of her professional career. She is a native of Stratford, PE, Canada. So, she's been around a lot, seeing that she went from Canada to the States to overseas, being Europe. This is a path that a lot of players who come out of the NCAA are tending to follow a lot more now, as we're actually seeing this with the KRS Banky Rays, who are starting to prep for their season, having signed about 10 players or so up to this point in time. So, taking a look at Steele's, junior career prior to Boston University, she played with Team Canada at the U18 World Juniors, where she played in 5 games, recording 3 points and 2 penalty minutes. Prior to that, she played in the PWHL, where she played in 24 games with 3 goals and 5 assists for 8 points, while also adding 10 penalty minutes. That was in her second year of PWHL action. Her first was with the Mississauga Chiefs, where she played 26 games and scored 3 goals and 2 assists for 5 points, along with 12 penalty minutes. So this is all after having been at Appleby College, where she was assistant captain for 2 seasons, 2 of her 3 seasons spent there. So, that was only because she then transferred to play for the PWHL towards the end of the 2012-13 season. So, she brings a left-handed shot to Toronto, and as a defenseman, naturally, you'd expect again that her defense skills will be up there. And then she also brings a gold medal to the team, having won the U18 World Juniors gold medal again in the one season that she had the opportunity to play and do so. So, that kind of sums up Steele for you, who again is expected to make her debut now tomorrow night at Toronto 6 practice, which I believe once again will be held at Kenlin Ice Sports. which is nearby Pioneer Village and on the campus of York University. So another one who arrived in Toronto yesterday is Samantha Ridgewell, who is another goaltender and supposedly will be backing up Elaine Chuli, who's again, like Darkangelo, a former member of the PWHPA and of the Vancouver Rays in the CWHL, as well as the Toronto Furies. So Ridgewell comes from the SDHL, where she played last season with Djurgårdens IF in the SDHL, and there she played in 22 games. And doing so, she recorded goals against average of 2.03 and a save percentage of 0.920. So that was her first year of pro hockey, and that's very telling because she didn't do terribly, and she even made the playoffs. So Jurgen's IF or Djurgårdens IF, I should say. They've been known to be a very strong team. Brooke Boquist played there as well. And so when you look at her playoff experience with the Djurgårdens IF, she played in 5 games and recorded goals against average of 2.67 and a save percentage of 0.886. So she's done pretty well all in all, and now comes into Toronto looking to do more damage, but on North American ice with the Toronto Six. And again, she is a native of Outlook, Saskatchewan, so it's going to be maybe an adjustment period for her to be in the province of Ontario with the Toronto Six. But she's played pro hockey before, so I don't expect the adjustment to be that hard. And she played overseas, and playing on international ice is definitely harder than North American ice, or at least that's the memo that many have spoken of. So I don't expect much of a layback from her. I expect her to as well find her comfort quite quickly, and from there the success will show. So she played 4 years at Merrimack College, just like Michaela Grant Mentis did, and while she was there in 2015-16, she made her team debut and played 28 games with the 3.12 GAA and a .915 save percentage. Now in 2016-17, she played 14 games, a significant step down from that 28. And as such, she recorded a 3.34 goals against average and a .907 save percentage. So in joining that, there's in 2017-18, she stepped up back towards the 23 game mark, closer to 28. And there she recorded a goals against average of 2.35 and a .925 save percentage. So finally, in 2018-19, her last season before heading to Sweden, she played 33 games, her most yet at the college level, and in doing so recorded a goals against average of 1.89 along with a save percentage of 0.936. So she didn't get into the playoffs with Merrimack College during any of her time with the school, but certainly gained some valuable years as a goaltender after coming in from the JWHL, which is kind of like the PWHL, their sister league per se. So there she played the Notre Dame Hounds, and she played there for 2 seasons. And so let's take a look at those numbers that she started with to give you a better idea of what she's what made her into who she is now, and the numbers that she puts up. So her first season in the JWHL, she played 16 games with a 1.06 goals against average and a .940 save percentage. Her second year, 2014-15, played 8 games with a 1.62 GAA as well as a .941 save percentage. This all comes after playing for her hometown Saskatoon Stars in the SFM AAAHL. So she spent 2 years there and made the playoffs in both years to start her career to pro hockey, or path to pro hockey, I should say, 2011, 12, and 2012, 13, again with the Saskatoon Stars. So in her first of 2 seasons there, she played 15 games with a 1.72 GAA and a .925 save percentage. In 12-13, she played 19 games, 4 more than her first season, with a 2.60 GAA and a .909 save percentage. So, giving you an idea of these players, I hope this is all an indication of, what's built these players, what they've modeled their play on, and what they expect to do with those as they head into pro hockey with the Toronto Six. So, seeing as I only have 5 minutes left on this show, I'm going to finish up in talking about her playoffs, and then I'll touch on what can be expected for this week in hockey. So, that being said, in her first year of playoff hockey with the Saskatoon Stars, she played in 6 games played and had a GAA of 1.67 and a .939 save percentage. Now, she then made the playoffs again in 2012-13 with another 6 games played with a 2.79 GAA and a .883 save percentage. So, let's look forward to this week in hockey, where 17 of the 18 players on the Toronto Six will likely be in the city. I don't know that all of them will hit the ice. I don't know that restrictions have changed yet further to that regard. So, I'll keep posted on that as we continue to, transform towards, a successful first season. But, until we're there, I'd expect to see probably upwards of 15 to 16 players there, given that the numbers again have since jumped. So I don't know if all 17 will be allowed, as I believe the missing player right now is Kelly Babstock, a veteran of the NWHL and the Buffalo Buttes. She actually played last season in the PWHPA, but made the comeback, seeing as she didn't really get much ice time, being with the Tri-State chapter, which actually no longer exists, along with the Buffalo chapter of the PWHPA. So, I didn't have a guest for you today, but I hope that this allowed me the time to preview the going-ons within the Toronto Six organization and get you guys ready for what's going to be a competitive season, a competitive team. And obviously they're going to be adding more players. I am going to work towards trying to get those details and see what's going on with the organization as of now. Yes, we're still a while away from first puck drop, but Mandy Cronin has been working behind the scenes, general manager of the Toronto Six, to make things happen. And while not specifying the nature of what those are by any means, we do realize that there is a head coach missing at this time. There's a coaching staff missing at this time. And in addition to that, there are still players missing at this time, as I don't believe that any NWHL roster is yet at capacity. So it gives you an idea of, where the team is at, what still needs to happen. When can we expect it? I don't know. But again, I'm going to work with, those close to the organization that I'm able, if I'm able rather, to see what I can kind of dig up. The most I might get is there's a player signing. I might not get a name, and this is done, but an announcement pending or whatever. I expect maybe that to be the furthest that I get as I check in over the course of the next week. But these Toronto Six are going to be certainly a lot of fun to watch. I mean, we have to remember that as well. They also, in addition to the things they're missing, they also don't have a home ice yet. So, there's going to be that challenge to overcome too. They've gotten their feet wet in terms of, feeling out the ice at 2 respective arenas within the North York Vaughan metropolitan area. And then with that, the assets that these arenas provide in terms of amenities, and that goes from audience or crowd seats to locker room amenities, to size of the ice pads and so much more. So that does it for me on this episode of Six and Sticks on the BarnBurner TV Network and Zingo TV Channel 250. For more updates on the Toronto Six, be sure to follow me on Twitter at Jocelyn Levine HBS. And more than that, be sure to keep up to date with the National Women's Hockey League on Twitter at NWHL and the Toronto Six themselves at the Toronto Six on Twitter, as they continue to, preview the players who've signed for the coming season. And maybe we'll get a hint of a coach, a player, something that tells us that the right route is being followed for the development of the Toronto Six hockey organization. So that does it for me on BarnBurner TV Network and Zingo TV Channel 250. Justin Levine,